I did a 5K race last week. And I have to say, guys, it really showed me the value of physical fitness and moving your body. Do you have any idea how important this is? It's really changed my perspective, and I want to share a bit about that with you today on this podcast. You're not moving your body enough, and I want you to know we're beginning now a new era on this podcast. Here we go. I'm going to show up on this podcast all the time now, like this. I'm going to say this. Do you have any idea what it takes to reach this level of success? I get up at 4 a.m. every day, and I run 13 miles with an anvil strapped to my back. Then I take my ice bath for 40 minutes. And after the paramedics revive me, I eat a hunk of raw elk meat that I hunted with a sharp stone because bow hunting is not ancestral enough. And then I get to work on my treadmill desk. And I don't just have a walking desk, I have a walking bed. I move my body even at night now because that's what I'm about, because moving your body is really important. And I learned that at the turkey trot that my husband made me participate in last week. That it's a new era, guys. I'm a changed person in an alternate universe. Now, in this universe, I ran a 0.5K. I quit. The race got started. It looped around the parking lot, and then you really get into it, the full 5K part. And as soon as we got near my car, I was like, I'm so out. I'm so done. And what's hilarious is my kids were waiting in the car, and they thought I won. They were like, man, bro, mom's crushing it. Mom's great. Man, she ran a 5K in like 3 minutes. Mom's a winner. And I should have just let them roll with that. And what's incredible is I still got a medal. They were handing out medals in the race, and I still got one. If there has ever been a bigger participation trophy, that I have not found it. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible that I was able to get any sort of reward other than just pitying looks and offers of assistance. No, I quit. I quit the race. It was an excellent decision. I stand by that decision. And so let's talk a bit, friends, today about quitting. We've talked about this a few times. And I recently, in a recent episode, I made the point about when you've tried something and failed a bunch of times, maybe you need to get therapy because you can't stick to commitments, maybe. Or maybe you're just iterating. Any great company, any great project, any great system that solves a lot of problems for a lot of people and takes a difficult situation and makes it run smoothly, it always requires a lot of iterations. You try, you fail, you try, you fail. And that is something that we've talked about before, that idea of iterating. But I'm going to bring a new dimension into it today on the topic of quitting and talk about it from a different perspective, because especially with the holiday seasons approaching, you guys need to quit some stuff. You guys need to quit some stuff so that you don't get too overwhelmed. And I don't want you to feel bad about it. So that is the main topic for today. As usual, we always get to the main topic in the second half of the show. In the first half, we talk about whatever is new. I have an exciting announcement. It's really exciting. It's a new step that I'm taking in my life, and it's a bit of a new identity for me, really. So I will be announcing that here in just a second after we set up the show. And I do want to remind you, if you are in Austin or can make it down to Austin on, what's the date, Katlyn? December 6th? Yep. Is that right? Okay, yes. Next week. Actually, a week from today, a week yes. from the launch of this episode, we are doing my comedy showcase show. It's me and a few other comics that I hand select. We each do some time. I do the most time. And these guys are so funny. I've really hand selected a great group of people. They are so funny. And so if you're in Austin or can make it to Austin on Wednesday, December 6th, I do feast days because I can't remember dates. That would be the Feast of St. Nicholas. If you can make it down I would love to see you there. It's a small room, small show, and it's a lot of fun. jfcomedytour.com is where you would get those tickets. It's the only show on the calendar. This is actually your last chance to meet me in person for many a moon, because I'm working on my comedy special that we just filmed, and I'm not touring for a few months. So this is it, jfcomedytour.com. I hope to see you there. And welcome to the Jen Fulwiler Show. I am your host, Jen, and I am coming to you from Austin, Texas. This is the podcast where you learn the art of the village hustle. That's being a hot girl boss, or hot boy boss. Welcome to my many, many single male listeners. Who knows that love and family and community are the foundations of all real success. Katlyn White is our lovely producer, and we do bonus content on Patreon, patreon.com/thisisjen. Every week after the regular podcast episode, we keep the cameras and the mics running, and we keep talking about that topic. And then there is the Village Hustle level, a level up. And we just released this week a new one where I brought my Village Hustle friends into Thanksgiving week and the ups and the downs and the going to the turkey trot and all of that. So that is on the Village Hustle Patreon, patreon.com/thisisjen. And all of these links are also in the show notes. So let us begin. I put on this diamond dollar sign for when I was talking about my grind set, and I think I'll leave it. I think it's a good thing to leave on for this take. We'll make a clip out of this, and it'll be more ridiculous that I'm wearing this necklace. I'd like to share with you guys an exciting development. Not everyone is going to agree with this, but it's an important part of my identity that I need to share with you guys. So here we go. I would like to come out to you as a Matt Rife hater. I hate him so much. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Jen, you hate a lot of people. That's like making a big announcement that you're adding a drop of water to the ocean to say that there's like someone new that you hate. No, this is like next level hatred. And this is worth making an announcement about, because he is a hot topic right now. And I was always a Matt Rife defender. I've defended him on this podcast and in other forums. And I need the world to know that I have completely changed my mind. Katlyn, put up the picture that he is currently promoting his tour with. jfonyoutube.com. No, that is not Marky Mark from 1997. That is an unironic. Oh, Katlyn, he's holding the mic like he's going to drop it. Is that what he's doing?
Yep. Mic drop.
I don't want to be alive. Like, I just jfonyoutube.com. If you think I'm being too extreme in my reaction, then you haven't seen it. And he chose this. And this isn't like some old picture of when he was hard on his luck. He started an OnlyFans. He had to get some stuff going to get the bills paid. No, this is like a current headshot that he recently took when he was making more money than God. There are like Arab princes who own 7 oil fields who don't have as much money as this man has. And this is the picture. It's a shirtless picture. He's shirtless. He's wearing some kind of chain, and he is in the process of dropping a mic. The hatred that wells up within me since the release of his comedy special, it could only be described as childlike. It is innocent, it is pure, it is untinged by any other emotions. It is, and when I think about how much I hate him, it's almost like I get lost in a reverie. It's a reverie of just pure disdain and ill wishes. I mean, again, there's almost something childlike about it, really. Now, what would cause all this? Let's back up for my people here who don't know who Matt Rife is and why I previously defended him. And now it is a core part of my identity that I hate him. Okay, you can get that out of my face. I need like one of those memory erasing things. When I chose that picture for this episode, I did not realize he was dropping a mic. Okay. So this is a comedian. He went viral for crowd work videos. Crowd work is where you don't have any material prepared and you say to the people in front of you, how long have you been together? Are you dating? And then you ask them about their sex lives. That's crowd work. Now, people criticized Matt Rife for this because they said he wasn't really doing comedy. He was just doing crowd work. And that's not real comedy. And he shouldn't have gotten famous for that, blah, blah, blah. And that's where I defended him because that is an art form too. It is closer to improv than stand-up comedy. True stand-up comedy, like you will see in my fine special that's coming out in early 2024, that's more like for writers. If you are a writer, if you're someone who really enjoys sitting down with the English language and massaging it to say interesting things, that sounded way more weird. What's funny is I'm describing myself as a writer and then I'm saying ham-handed, completely bizarre things that would indicate that I have no mastery of the English language. So this is going well so far. But that classic stand-up comedy is for writers. There have been a lot of people who have had specials released in the past 6 months who are not known primarily for their stand-up. They're known for something else. In Matt's case, crowd work. And it's not great. It's their stand-up comedy is just not funny. And it's really fine. I mean, don't say their specials are good, but it's fine because they have other talents and I really do respect it. So that is where I would defend Matt Rife is, I think it's an improv style talent. I think that thinking on your feet that quickly is not easy. Doing a whole show where all you're doing is talking to the audience, that sounds exhausting. I'm impressed. So I always said to other comedians, because hatred of Matt Rife is what bonds us. It's like a community. It's like communion. It brings us together as, like the mystical body of comedians. We are bonded on it's the glue that holds us together is hating Matt Rife. So, but I was always the contrarian opinion. I said, I think that's actually kind of hard what he does with crowd work. So, that's worth respecting. So then he decided that because he has a talent for making crowd work clips go viral, he therefore has a talent for everything. This is unfortunate because he is not good at regular stand-up comedy, which is fine. Plenty of people aren't, and it's fine. The problem, and this is really the reason I bring this up, is that he is acting like he is some sort of poster child against cancel culture because he has said some things in his new Netflix special that are extremely offensive to a lot of people. And he is acting like he is just too edgy. And he's acting like he's just owning the libs or whatever the kids say. and that he's really standing up against cancel culture. And I would say most of the listeners of this podcast, in theory, we like that idea. We are a free speech kind of people, are we not? We don't like being told what to do and think. Certainly my dear friends from the Catholic ghetto from which I hail, we are often told that our opinions are like, people don't want to hear it. They find them offensive. And so we tend to be a sympathetic ear to that. Yes, cancel culture shouldn't be out there. People should be able to express themselves, even if it goes against the modern mainstream narrative. I need every one of you and all of your friends to just know that if you ever hear this brought up and you ever hear Matt Rife's name involved, do not defend this guy. He is not some sort of crusader for free speech. He is an untalented stand-up comedian who is talented at crowd work, not talented at stand-up comedy, who is saying hurtful and insane and dumb and uninteresting things. And then when people call him on it and say, hey, that wasn't funny, that was just a terrible thing to say, he's acting like he is some kind of crusader. And it would keep me up at night if I thought that even one of you had maybe heard part of this story and thought, well, I like what I've heard about that Matt Rife guy. He's a free speech. No, we hate him on this podcast. Here's why. Okay, here's what got me going on this. Oh God, I forgot about that. I have notes here.
Oh, no.
I'd forgotten about my notes. I wrote these down before I took a nap, and now it's like a bad dream. Okay. His tour that he is on right now is called Problematic, with MATT in all capital letters in that word.
Clever.
He lies awake at night thinking that everyone's like, Matt Rife, he's too edgy. He's too edgy for us. We can't even believe what an edgelord this guy is. He's just like, we're too delicate for this tough man. And he's riding around on that wave of glee and joy and $100 bills. This man is filling entire jacuzzis with Veuve Clicquot every night, throwing $100 bills in the air, probably has 10 gorgeous women in the hot tub with him being like, Matt, you're so problematic. You're so problematic. You should drop the mic. You should drop the mic because you're so edgy. And he's making more money per show than you make all year. Whatever your household family income is annually, Matt Rife makes that in a week. So is there a loving God? I might have to back out of this whole Catholic thing. This is the last, war, genocide, poverty, those things. I was like, I see it. I see how the Lord's with us in that. I don't see how the Lord's with us with Matt Rife. This might be it for my faith. Okay. This is what started this. I think you guys will be with me if you think that my reaction to him is too strong when I tell you what he said and then what he said about what he said. Okay. He starts his Netflix special by talking about the fact that he's filming in Baltimore. The special was filmed in Baltimore. And the first 10 minutes are about Baltimore. So that's a super relevant topic that everyone cares about. Okay, whatever. No, I'm not going to get down in the weeds on this. Okay. So he says, and I don't think I can play a clip because my YouTube channel will get dinged and I cannot lose the enormous amount of views I have here. And yes, I'm aware of the undercurrent of, does Jen just have sour grapes because Matt Rife is more successful than she'll be in 10 lifetimes? Yeah, I'm aware of this undercurrent. That is definitely adding fuel to the white hot glowing flame of my hatred here. It certainly. But I would hate him anyway. If I were a carpenter, I would still feel mostly this way about him. Okay. So he says, I've only been to Baltimore one time. I ate lunch there, and the hostess who seats you at the restaurant had a black eye. We're like, okay, Matt, where are you going with this? Mm-hmm. He says, a full black eye. It wasn't like what happened. It was pretty obvious what happened. He goes on to say, we couldn't get over the fact, like, this is the face of the company. This is who you have greeting people.
That's incredibly rude.
And by the way, he's not even making a joke here. This is just setup. He thinks he's saying something relatable to get to his quote unquote joke. Like, this is just setup. That he's just saying, yeah, that's how you would react if you saw a woman who is clearly a victim of abuse. That you're like, it's grossing me out. How can I eat my buffalo wing sliders? How am I going to have the bloomin' onion if, I've seen a domestic abuse victim, it's gross. So that's what he says. So then, if he ever dies, you guys have to be an alibi for me. Okay. He then jokes that I'm reading from an article, by the way. He then jokes that his friend said that the restaurant should put her in the kitchen so nobody has to see her face.
Hey.
Rife then goes on to say, I said, I feel like if she could cook, she wouldn't have that black eye.
That's not that's not at all how that works.
Can we form a vigilante gang and go beat him up? Like, could we? I mean, I know that my podcast listeners are mostly moms who are raising young children, but could you guys get some babysitters? Could we, we could find him. We could find him.
Grab your torches.
It would be fun. It would be, a mom's night out. Mom's night out where we give Matt Rife a black eye and then we write bad jokes about it. I'm just saying no bad ideas in brainstorming.
We could call it problematic mom.
Oh! No, we could call it like Genergy, like put my name in it,
all right, fair enough.
Bring in some Genergy to problematic. Matt, so you would think, well, this is all of our villain origin story. Like we have, you're probably thinking like, okay, yes, my hatred now is it 10 out of 10 for this guy. Notice, by the way, he didn't say anything funny. We'll come back to that. I will dissect the unfunniness of that in a moment. Do you think there's more? Let me dial your hatred for this man up to an 11. Katlyn, please put up the second clip. I'm actually glad you can't see the file name. I named it something really special.
Yeah, you did.
Put that up. Yeah. So jfonyoutube.com. This is a screenshot from Matt Rife's Instagram stories. So he was riding on the high of feeling like he is the poster child against cancel culture. He was counting the $100 bills that rained down upon him like a torrent. He was drinking champagne, eating caviar, and just thinking, I'm so edgy. I am so brave. And this is what comedy is about. It's about being edgy and brave, and that's me. And so he was so impressed with himself. He's like, I'm problematic. I'm problematic. I put the Matt in problematic. And then he went and took 7 shirtless selfies of himself, not just dropping mics, but dropping other things. Because he's like, when you're this iconic, you drop a lot of things. So like he'll make his protein shake in the blender and then drop the blender. Like he'll make toast and then drop the toaster because he's problematic. He's just that iconic that's just how he has to roll. So after all of that, he goes on his Instagram story. What does that text say, Katlyn? I can't read it from here.
It says, if you've ever been offended by a joke I've told, here's a link to my official apology. And then it says, tap to solve your issue.
Okay. Thank you. So that's what it says. I need everyone to center yourselves, okay?
Deep breath.
And listen, don't kill him yet. Like, let's come up with a plan. Let's be strategic. That link goes to a place that sells helmets for special needs little kids. When little kids have seizures or mobility disabilities, they often have to wear helmets so that they don't hurt their head if they fall over. That is what that link goes to. And then he linked to it saying it was like an apology video. And then, yeah, I can't see Katlyn because of a camera. So I'm like ducking under because normally I kind of look over to Katlyn just to get the shot for YouTube. And I'm like, well, I can't see her, but it just shows that we're interacting. But no, you can see me on YouTube. I'm like ducking down to see because I need to see her face. He linked to a special needs child's helmets site and said it was his apology, and said that anyone who had a problem with his Netflix special, anyone who was offended by that needs one of these. Oh. How does the vigilante gang sound now? You thought Jen was being crazy earlier. You thought, like, why is she hating on this young guy? Like, what's that? Now you see it. Mm-hmm. Now you see. And then, okay, now, Katlyn, can you leave this up and then put up this shirtless, the Marky Mark picture? Oh, you can't. Okay, then take away the Instagram story one. This is him. This is so after he records this Netflix special and is like, man, that was incredible. That joke, dude, about how, the setup is just saying that this woman was gross because she had a black eye. That wasn't even the joke. That was just, everyone can relate to that. You see a victim of domestic violence and you're like, oh, super gross. How am I going to eat my potato skins now? Like, oh, like I don't even want the ranch dressing anymore. So he set it up that way. And then he made just this ridiculous joke that is so offensive and so annoying. By the way, I know what comedian he's trying to be with that, and we'll get to that in a minute. And then he takes off his shirt, poses for a mic drop picture, and calls his tour problematic. Oh, I know. This is when I was messaging with another comedian about this. I don't advocate for seppuku. Like, don't do it. But this man has pushed me to the point that this other comedian told me that at the end of this garbage Netflix special where Matt begins with this joke, he drops the mic at the end of it. I haven't seen it. Another comedian told me, because again, the glue that holds us all together is our hatred of Matt Rife. And I can't look it up. I I should, that's the Patreon.
The reaction video?
You should, yeah. Oh, it should be my reaction video to his Netflix special. Oh, that'll be like $1,000 a month and worth it. What we'll do is once a month, I'll take 5 minutes of his garbage Netflix special and I'll just react to it. And then for the true premium members, this will be $2,000 a month. You'll get to see my reaction to the final scene where he drops the mic.
Oh, man.
Another Patreon level we could do is, so I keep this podcast clean and I keep my comedy clean because I want it to be general audience. This is maybe not the most general audience topic, but when you come to my comedy show, I want you to be able to invite your mom and your aunt and your neighbor. But you guys should know, some people don't know this about me. My language is not perfect in real life. I should do an uncensored. I feel like I am just not able to fully express myself right now. And if I could speak about this the way I would speak to Katlyn off the air, after a couple of hard ciders, and after 3 Pims and lemonade, or if I really want to get tore up, this is the $3,000 a month Patreon level. I'll drink Pims and Squirt. Old podcast fan, you should look up the Pims and Squirt episode. It's early on before we even numbered them. It was sometime in 2020. And I talked about how insanely tore up I get when I drink Pims and lemonade, Pims and Squirt, and it's not my fault. It's Squirt's fault actually. Even more than the Pims, the soda Squirt is, I don't know. So that will be $3,000 a month. After 6 months of membership, you don't get anything for the first 6 months, but at the 6 month mark, I will have 3 Pims and Squirts, and I will watch the full Netflix special and then video my reaction of Mr. Problematic dropping the mic at the end of it. And when you guys see that, you'll be like, we didn't pay enough. That This is the biggest bargain investment we've ever made. Jen undercharged us for this content at patreon.com/thisisjen. We just need to launch all of this, and that'll be the uncensored version. That'll be me talking like a pirate, like I frankly normally do. I feel very hemmed in by the language that I usually use on this podcast. But I would like to say this about comedians and cancel culture. I'd like to have a round table. Get that picture out of my face again. I'd like to have a round table with terrible comedians and get them all together and just really let them know that saying offensive things is not comedy. That's not, there wasn't a joke there. And also to suggest that someone who disagrees with you is dumb, therefore they have a physical or mental disability. That's not comedy. That's just a 5-year-old talking smack. You can find that at the local kindergarten. Comedy in its best form, it makes you see things a little differently. It brings a fresh perspective on it. And it is possible to talk about the unmentionable, to do comedy about things that you shouldn't be able to do comedy about and make it work. But you have to be smart, and you have to give that audience that moment of, there's a new dimension here. I'd never thought of that. And you have to make it clear that you are not actually a horrible human being. I've seen a lot of edgy comedy work. Many times I've seen comedians where I have that moment where I say, I don't think you should be able to talk about this subject in a stand-up comedy set, but I'm laughing and it's working. But it's because the person is maybe parodying a terrible point of view so that you're actually seeing how horrible it is from a new angle or something along those lines. Let me put it bluntly. It's for smart people. And if you're kind of a pretty boy who doesn't really have a lot of nuanced thinking other than what type of oil to use on your chest before your mic drop photo, don't go there. Don't do it. And by the way, little comedy insider story. Some of the clubs in Austin, where I live, are known for being very hard rooms because they attract comedy aficionados. They attract Joe Rogan's fans. Joe Rogan obviously has a really big presence here. And obviously Joe Rogan is someone who stands for free speech. You should be able to say crazy things in comedy and not get canceled for it, blah, blah, blah. He's a separate issue. But so it's that his vibe influences the Austin comedy scene. So we attract people who are real comedy aficionados. They kind of expect and want edgy comedy, that sort of thing. And so we have a few rooms here that are very hard because you're not just, it's not like going up on a cruise ship or something. You know, everyone's there to laugh and have a good time. These are comedy aficionados who are kind of there with their notepad and pens, and not literally, but they are there to critique you. And but it's cool if you can get up in one of those rooms. Obviously, you test your chops. You see if you got it, if you can make these people laugh. That's what comedy is. And Matt Rife was invited to one of these rooms, and he was doing something. It wasn't comedy. He was part of something else, but it is a tradition that people who are part of this thing do a few minutes of stand-up, and he wouldn't do it. When he was in this room that is known for the real comedians go up here, he wouldn't do it. He would not get up and do stand-up because he knows he sucks at it. Is he good at crowd work? Yes, he is. I will not take that away from him. He's great at crowd work. He's 1,000 times better at crowd work than I am. Very good at it. Stand-up, not so much. And he knows it. He knows he's not good at it because when he was in that really tough room in Austin, he wouldn't do it. He just sat there in the corner and watched people who are clever and interesting go up, and they made edgy jokes that were actually fresh and brought a new dimension to things. So if you have any interest in this subject and would like to see who Matt Rife is trying to be, and before I say these names, I want to make it very clear, this is not a general recommendation that all of you should go look these people up. This is not, I worry that some of you might say, oh, I wasn't listening to that closely to Jen Fulwiler's podcast, but I am, I'm just looking for something after I listen to my Bible in a Year podcast each day. I'd like to listen to something else. And I heard Jen mention these names. I forget what she was saying about them, but I'm just going to hit play. After I've spent some time pretty deep in the scriptures, I'll just look up these guys who she mentioned and hit play on what they're talking about. Don't do that. No. This is only for people. What I'm about to say is only for people who are familiar with comedy that is a little edgier. It's a little darker. It goes into topics that are, a lot of people would hesitate to talk about. And there is a way to do that well. And I would say people who 60 to 80% of the time do it well would be Andrew Schultz, Tim Dillon, and Jeffrey Asmus. Now, again, before anyone looks up their names, they have plenty of things that I don't agree with. I'm like, you shouldn't have said that. You took that too far. But they are three people who they go into topics that are, you're like, oh, I probably wouldn't bring that up ever. That's a little dicey. But then they'll say something fresh about it that actually it makes you feel better about it. They might talk about war or injustice or people being wrongfully imprisoned, and you're thinking, this is just a dark, sad topic, but they'll say something that really skewers the people who are on the wrong side of things or whatever. And it just, you kind of laugh like, yeah, that's really right. Actually, that's interesting. It is so clear to me that Matt Rife wants to be Andrew Schultz. And again, hesitate before you look up Andrew Schultz's comedy. It's not clean in any way. He goes into all sorts of crazy territory, but I would say a lot of the time he does it well. He's the guy who we played the clip last week of him bringing his dad to Madison Square Garden. Andrew Schultz is in a lot of comedians' heads because he kind of came up from nothing. Well, he's really good friends with Joe Rogan, so nothing is not, that would be a bit of an exaggeration, but he did. I take nothing away from Andrew. He really came up just from doing great work relentlessly, and he's just good. And so he's in a lot of, especially the guy comedians, the young guys. He's really in their heads, and it is so clear. It's so clear, man. If you can handle some language, you should look up the Andrew Schultz Airport Atheists clip. A lot of language. Don't say I didn't warn you. But look up that. And then if you ever watch Matt Rife's garbage Netflix special, it's so clear that he is trying to be Andrew and failing. And it's so sad. It's so sad to watch this poor little man fall on his face. So I bring all this up to just say that it's now part of my personality, how much I hate Matt Rife. And I also bring it up because, again, we are a group of people here on this podcast. We like free speech. We don't like being told what we can and can't say. And so I just worried that some of you might hear about this controversy and say, I don't know, I didn't hear what Matt Rife said, but sounds like he's just a comic who's being hilarious and getting hated on because he's too funny and he's problematic. If I thought that even one of you held that opinion, I would shut all this down tomorrow. I don't mean just the podcast, my YouTube channel and all its success, my tour. I wouldn't publish my comedy special. I'd be like, my whole career has been a farce because one podcast listener was like, I think we should really defend Matt Rife because he's just edgy, and some people can't handle his edge. Okay. Some people just can't handle it, and that's why he has to drop the mic because he's so brave. He's so brave. Who else is going to make fun of women with black eyes and say that they make them lose their appetite? In all seriousness, that part not even as a joke, and then say if they knew how to cook, they wouldn't have the black eye, and then say that people who say, hey, maybe you shouldn't have said that, starting with the fact that it wasn't funny, need the helmets that children with severe seizure disorders wear. I don't know. I think maybe that guy has a point. If I thought that one person held that opinion, I would just shut it all down. I'd shut the whole thing down. So let's just be clear. We hate Matt Rife. He's not standing for anything other than the fact that there's no justice in the world. It's a fallen world where there's only injustice and darkness. And we need Jesus to come soon. He really can't get here quickly enough. That is the Matt Rife take. And that is why it was a top priority for me to mention this to you. Don't ever think that man is doing anything good. There was something else I was going to say about that. I will tell you what, I'll interrupt myself because that's the new format of this podcast. If I ever think of something hateful to say about Matt Rife, I will interrupt whatever subject I was in the middle of, and I'll say that. I could be telling you guys, hey, you guys have asked, how did I convert from atheism to believing in God? And I could be like, there was this moment when I just turned my eyes heavenward. And I felt the Lord say to my heart, I just thought of why Matt Rife sucks. Hang on. He sucks. Look at this picture of him. Look at what a tool he looks like in this picture. So, and we've developed a special sound effect for Jen just thought of something new and more hateful to say about Matt Rife. So unveil that. Oh,
beautiful.
I think it's perfect.
It's amazing.
I think it's really incredible. I think I am going to watch the rest of his Netflix special just so that I can.
Please do a reaction video though. We need.
Yeah,
this.
You're right. Yeah. No, we have to. And it's also good. Then I'll just feel so superior. I'll be like, wow, I am so much of a better comic. This is kind of unbelievable. And can I just say too that it's crazy to me that in the setup part of the setup is where you keep people in reality and then you do a surprise flip for the punch. And then the setup part of the joke, he's like, yeah, my boys and I were like, this is gross. Like, this is who you have representing your restaurant. That he just revealed a legit opinion of his. That part wasn't the joke. That was the reality that you're setting up to flip it for the joke that comes.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. No, that is a real opinion of his. Yeah. So, if he's ever like on stage and you see a tall albino redhead run up and just tackle him and just start hitting him with the mic, like drop this mic, it's not me. It's a different, I have an evil twin who does that sometimes. And Katlyn will say, she'll be like, Jen was at my house. Do you guys want to know how much he makes per show?
Ugh. Yes, but no.
It depends on the city. Your income will vary widely per city. My leg just fell asleep. Oh my God. It's like my leg is like trying to kill itself in protest. It's like I can't be a part of this world
please,
anymore.
No.
It depends on the city, but if he were to go to a big city that has a high population of unthinking people who like problematic OnlyFans bros, let me think. He just for that one, let's say he could probably he'd probably sell out a theater twice. I mean, he's done that. So he'd be in a pretty big theater, sell it out twice. So his take home, I'm not talking about profit that he has to subtract expenses from. His take home is in the bigger cities, minimum 80K, but probably he's definitely made like 120, 150K.
Per show?
Per show.
Oh.
Per show. Like in a night. He makes it in a night, guys.
That's insane.
There's no justice.
No.
There's no justice. There's none. Okay. We need to get off this topic before.
Yeah.
I know I say all the time that this is going to make me turn into the Joker, but this could be the one. This could be my villain origin story. Okay. See, this is why I didn't do 5 quick takes. We are 45 minutes into this podcast, and it took that long for me to talk about how much I hate Matt Rife. I told Lucy, my daughter who was on last week's episode, I told her that was the topic today. And I actually told her that I set aside 40 minutes for Matt Rife hate. And she said, well, how could you? I don't think you, what is there to say? I mean, and she hates him too, but she was like, I mean, how could you even fill 10 minutes with just why you hate someone? Sure enough, 45 minutes. I surpassed the mark.
We'll have to let her know.
I did it. See, I'm successful at things too. It's not just Matt Rife. I am also successful. Does it make you feel physically ill how much money he makes, like at one trip to one city?
Oh yeah, especially like after that comment he made, it's like what?
And people are still supporting him. If you know anyone who's like, I'm going to go see Matt Rife, you need to educate them. Like you need to stop them.
Have you seen his new special?
Right. Like let's sit down and actually watch it and decide if we think this guy is funny. Oh, and by the way, watch his first.
The one on YouTube.
Yeah, watch that one too. It's not. He's not trying to go completely single white female with trying to be Andrew Schulz. Sorry, Katlyn's very young. That was a movie. Do you know that movie?
No.
Oh, really? Katlyn's never heard of Single White Female?
I was about to ask you.
Oh, that sounded weird. Like now
it did. So I was like, yeah. Wait, what?
Okay. See, I'm glad that
I know a lot, but that's not one of them.
I'm glad that I moved my head so that I can see your reaction to that. Wow.
I'll move the camera next time.
So yeah, for people my age, we're like, wow, who doesn't know? Okay. That was a movie where this woman, I really don't remember it, but the gist of it is that she was friends with this woman, but it got really weird, and she started dressing like that person, like her friend, and to the point that, I mean, she was like identical, exact same haircut, wearing the same clothes. She tried to move in on the other woman's boyfriend. It's kind of like if you want a horror thriller type movie. Actually, I don't know if you should watch it. I haven't seen it in years, but it was a creepy movie about a woman who gets so obsessed with another woman that it just controls her whole life. So Matt Rife is single white female for Andrew Schulz. It's very clear that this is the guy who he desires to be and wants to be, and lies awake at night realizing he'll never be. And so that's sad for him. I mean, let's take comfort in the fact that he'll never be the man who he most admires. But so okay.
I just can't.
Hit the jingle bell with that already. I'm trying to talk about something else now. I'm trying to move on. So I did this 0.5K. And I have to say it. First of all, Joe, he first brought up saying that he wanted to do a 5K at Thanksgiving 2001. We were not married, but we were dating at that time. And I was like, oh, well, certainly we need to support one another in what we do during the holidays. It just wouldn't work this year because, blah, blah, blah. For 22 years, every year I've found an excuse for why we can't do a fun run on Thanksgiving. And in the year of our Lord 2023, I finally ran out of excuses. I could not come up with one good reason that we couldn't do it. And if you heard the previous episode, if you heard episode 183, you know that we had our demographic nuclear winter Thanksgiving where we had no family to invite because we don't have family really other than my mom, not immediate family. And so it was boring and it was depressing. And it was like, what are we going to do? I had suggested text giving where we all stay in bed all day, each one of us cozy in our own space, and we don't even see each other. We just text each other what we're thankful for. Joe felt like we should run a 5K. Now, I will say that has opened up a lot of options now that I understand that what's important to him is suffering needlessly on holidays. That for him, that makes it a special holiday. If we can experience extreme physical suffering that serves no purpose, then there's a lot we could do with this. I mean, another year we could clean a septic tank. For Christmas, we could throw ourselves into a bushel of thorns. There's a lot that you can do if that's what you're into for the holidays. And I also wanted to be like, is there a handicap like in golf? Like you can get a handicap? And I don't even know. I don't know how that works, but you can basically say, I suck at golf, and then they give you more points. Oh, my dad is rolling over in his grave. Well, see, golf was like my father's religion. I cannot tell you. I mean, if he were ever up for haunting me, it would be tonight. Like, he's going to come to me in a dream and be like, how dare you misexplain the concept of a golf handicap. There's something where if you're very bad at golf, they help you out. So anyway, if they do handicaps in 5Ks like they do in golf, I wanted to be like, I'm a little bit hungover. So could I start at a different place than you guys? Or do you guys have that system going on here? So they we're all standing out there in the cold. It was very cold. And there were people dressed as pilgrims, which was kind of funny. And then people dressed as turkeys. It's always weird to dress up like what you're eating, but okay, whatever. I mean, they're having fun. Listen, I'm happy they're having fun. There were a bunch of dogs out there. What I love is my kids were all dressed really goth, and none of them, except for my youngest, wanted to run. Well, no, actually, the two boys ran. The 4 girls just lurked against a fence looking goth and tired and bored. And I was like, I'm so proud of these kids. Like, such a mom moment. Like, for you guys, your kid winning the spelling bee, that's me when my goth daughters were lined up against a fence and hating every moment of being at the turkey trot. It was like, they really are my children. Like, this is incredible. So I actually planned to do the whole thing because I thought, I don't know why.
I don't know what you thought.
I guess I thought, like, I'll show Joe that I can run too or something. And then I thought, whatever. I'll get my system going before we eat Thanksgiving food. I'll burn a few calories. Now, in general, want to make it very clear, I do not associate exercise with weight loss. You can listen to that. Was episode 150 the weight loss episode?
Oh,
is that
I could find it?
Okay, yeah. So I think it was 150. I went into my whole thing of how after 6 babies. Oh, Katlyn's looking through files, and I just hit the jingle bell. Hit the jingle bell. Put on a shirt, Matt. Okay. So anyway. So when I was just thinking as we were out on this race that at least I might burn a few calories, but just so you know, I don't associate exercise with weight loss. And again, this is coming from someone who lost a lot of weight after having 6 babies in 8 years. I just want to say that don't in general get this mentality going. But was it 150?
Yeah, 150.
But whatever, if you are ever arrested and sent to a Russian gulag, if you are sent to a forced labor camp, where, you're working on a chain gang and you're building a railroad or something for a ruthless dictator, just know, I mean, you are burning some calories, like it's, or running a 5K. I mean, these things are all basically equivalent to each other. I did think, okay, well, that's whatever. I'll burn some calories before we eat Thanksgiving dinner. And then because we got there so early, Joe disappeared with some of the kids for a little bit, and then he shows back up with donuts. And so it's like, well, now it's official. Now officially, there is literally no benefit to this. There is zero benefit to doing this race. But I thought, okay, whatever, I'll do it anyway. Well, first of all, I didn't know it's like 3 miles. That's what a 5K is. It's 3.2 miles. And I didn't know what that was because kilometers are like the monopoly money of measurement to me. They're not real. And I do, as much as I am curious about the world and about history and about international cultures, I do have this deeply American streak in me where I just won't learn the metric system. It's my toxic trait. It's like the salient part of my personality, second only to Matt Rife. My hatred of Matt Rife. It's funny how my mind goes blank every time I bring him up. Like, it's hard for me to stay on track. I need to stop. But so I could learn the metric system. I could know roughly what a kilometer is, but I I just won't. I won't do it. So I thought, I don't know, 5K, that's probably like a mile. I can run a mile. That's fine. And I get out there and I'm like, okay, 3 miles that's a ways. I mean, that's really, and I thought, you know what, but I'll do it anyway. I'm going to surprise everyone. I'm going to surprise everyone by sticking with this race and hustling it out and doing it. And it's going to be amazing. And I kid you not, all we did was round the parking lot. And I was like, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm not doing this. And I went back to the car, and then that's when the kids thought I won. They're like, Mom's back first. She's the best racer ever.
Who knew?
I ate donuts in the car. And I just waited for all the suckers to finish. And then I got my medal. And that had to kill the people who didn't quit, that I got a medal too. And I ran a 0.5K. So let's talk about quitting. We've talked before about how it's worth considering. Do you have some issue where you can't ever finish anything? Okay, consider that. But I would say probably if you're trying to solve a complex problem in your life, you are probably just iterating. And a complex problem could be exercising. And like, how do you, I'm trying to look up that episode. Okay, I can't find it. But anyway, it was, we did that in the past couple of months. If you're trying to solve a problem, like I'd like to lose weight or just fit into a different size clothes or whatever. And I've tried a bunch of stuff like running 5Ks and I've quit them and it never worked. I would say you're not a quitter, you're iterating. This is a very complicated problem to solve. We talked on that episode about Thomas Edison inventing the light bulb. It took him literally 1,000 tries. He failed 999 times. And I would say trying to lose some weight in the modern world where you are surrounded by snacks and goodness 24/7 and your primal caveman body is like, give me that right now so you don't die. I mean, I'm telling you, I think Thomas Edison had it easy. I think it's actually harder to find a fitness weight loss system that will work for the modern person without ruining your life. And so if you've quit 5Ks, if you've quit exercise programs, if you've quit 999 of them, I would say you're not a quitter, you're iterating. So if you have a stack of old gym cards and all the exercise gear from when you did CrossFit, and you've got the Pilates studio that people think are like some weird 50 Shades of Grey thing in your garage, and like and then you have the yoga mat, and from all this stuff that you tried and didn't keep up with, you didn't quit. You were iterating. That's what you were doing. You were just iterating. So we've talked about that before, but I think that what to consider when you're thinking about not doing something anymore that you said you would do, what you need to do is take a second to ask yourself, what is the real goal here? The real goal. So for me, in this turkey trot, I've never seen so many morning people in one place in my life. Anyway, so for me, in this turkey trot that was like the mothership of morning people had landed and was calling everyone home. I thought, what is the goal here? And the surface level answer is, well, my goal was to finish the 5K. That's the commitment I made. And I listen to male podcast influencers who have no responsibility in their lives. So I know that I'm supposed to stick with my commitments. You got to train your amygdala. You're training your amygdala the wrong way. Hey, if you said that you were going to do that, you have to do it. Even if it is ruining your life, and you're out of breath and your knee hurts and you're like, I never wanted to do this. I've literally spent 22 years trying to avoid this, but I said I would do it, so I'm going to. You just have to finish it because of your amygdala. That's what people say. So I think it's really important to pause on the turkey trot for a second. The turkey trot here is a metaphor for life. And you say, what is the real goal? Not the surface level goal the real goal. So I paused. I had 90-year-old women blowing past me. I mean, people, 400-pound people carrying someone on their backs, blowing past me. And I thought, okay, what's the real goal? I said it was to finish the 5K, but there is a deeper goal than that. And I said, okay, the real goal is that my husband has always wanted to bring a little more misery into our holidays. I'm kidding. My husband has always wanted to do a turkey trot for Thanksgiving. I have known this since 2001. I've been avoiding it since 2001. And I wanted to show him that I support the crazy things that he's into. Even if I'm not into it. That's what marriage is you say, hey, honey, this, I can't think of anything worse than this, but I will do it because it's something that you would like to do. And I realized that was really my goal, is to show Joe that I would do this and I would show up and I would be a good sport. So it occurred to me, does Joe care if I finish this thing? No, not at all, because I did get the whole family out, and that was on me. I got all the kids psyched up for it. They obviously did not want to get up at 7:00 in the morning on a rare day to sleep in. And so I handled that for him. I pitched it to all the kids, to get 6 teens and preteens on board with this. That was actually yeoman work. That was an incredible mom move to get my kids. Not only like would they go, but hey, come on, be excited about this. Dad wants to do this. And hey, I don't know why, but he does. So let's go. And so I had done that for him, and the kids, they were standing against a fence being goth and looking tired, but they actually generally had a perfectly nice attitude about it, and they were encouraging, and our 2 sons got involved in it. And I realized I checked all these boxes for Joe. He could not care less if I finished, and I didn't care about finishing. I mean, it was, whatever. Like I didn't care about burning the calories. I didn't care about the accomplishment of it. I was literally only out there to be a good spouse and check this box for my husband. And also I felt like if we do all the extrovert suffering and condense it into this morning, then I am off the hook for the rest of Thanksgiving. I always have issues with worrying I'm not doing enough for the holidays, and the holiday day will pass by and I'll think, I don't know, did we do anything? Was it special enough? And this, I was like, I get a pass for the rest of the day. We did something. We were out and about, shivering in the cold. We were running. Joe was running around. The kids were standing around in their all black outfits, and we were out. Like, don't tell me we didn't do anything for Thanksgiving. So I realized those were my real goals, not the run itself. And so I absolutely quit, and I didn't feel like a quote unquote quitter. I didn't feel like a quitter. I didn't feel like I don't follow through with my commitments. I felt like that's so smart. I'm a genius. I'm literally a genius for not wasting my time on this. And what culture will tell you, even like faith-based culture does this sometime. They're like, you said before God that you would do this. And it's like, well, God hears everything I say. I mean, he hears all the crazy talk, I mean, it's not like I made a solemn vow that I would do this. And so the culture around us would tell you that you are doing something bad if you don't stick with something that you casually said you would do. What you have to do is flip it on them and say, but what did I say I would do? In my case, I never said I would finish the turkey trot. That wasn't part of the deal I had with my husband. I said I would go there and I would have a positive attitude, and I would get the kids there, and we would all have a nice morning of it, to the extent that is possible when you are out of doors in 44-degree weather where it's misting at 7 a.m. But I said, look, I will not have a bad attitude about it. Leadership. I was like, I said I would do it. I will stand by that. I won't have a bad attitude. And the kids will be there. So when people say, like, you need to follow through with your commitments, I did. I showed up to the turkey trot with a positive attitude, and that's all I said I would do. So now let's take it to the ways that this might come up in your life. Let's say at the beginning of this year, You said, I'm going to join a gym, and you made a big deal out of that, and you quit the gym. And then you said, I'm going to do yoga, and you quit yoga. And then you said, I'm going to get into biking, and you quit biking. To the untrained eye, it could look like you are a quitter. But I would say that what was going on within you was not a lack of commitment. It was realizing that there is probably a better bang for the buck way to get to your goal. For example, when you bought the bike and the bike helmet and got into biking, I don't think your goal there was, I just need to be on something with two wheels all the time. I need to maximize my time on a contraption with two wheels because that's what I'm about. No, your goal was probably, I would like to feel physically fit. I would like to be able to walk up the 2 steps on my front porch without having to take a break to catch my breath. I would like to look in the mirror and, not feel like the Pillsbury Doughboy. I would like to be able to button my pants and not have it be like when you open a can of Crescent Rolls and it starts oozing out. I'd like to be able to put on my jeans without that happening. That's probably your goal. And so does it matter if you get there through biking or whatever, doing something else, walking around your neighborhood, joining a CrossFit gym, doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, whatever. It doesn't really matter how you get there because your real goal wasn't about biking per se. Your real goal was about just feeling like a more fit person. And again, per the iteration point, it might take you 1,000 times to get there. Actually, my physically fit husband is a good example of this. For our whole marriage, he had been saying, he'd been saying he wanted to be more fit. He wanted to be more fit. He tried running. He tried going swimming at just the neighborhood pool. What else did he try? I forget. He tried a bunch of different stuff, basically. And for decades, literal decades, I watched him try one thing and fail, and it just didn't work. He didn't consistently stick with any one thing because he's smart, frankly. He would just go running and it would be terrible weather and he's getting soaked and it was hard on his body. And he was like, there has to be a better bang for the buck way to do this. So he would quote unquote quit. Well, finally, after all these years, he found out there are these masters swim things where adults, they do kind of competitive swimming. There's a coach and they time you and it's like light competition. So you are trying to do better than other people in your age range, but you're not going to swim meets, but you just meet. He goes 3 days a week. He almost never misses it. And he swims sometimes, actually most days, he swims 2 miles. 3 days a week. He goes out there, he does this. He is in better shape than people half of his age. He finally found it. Like Edison, it took 1,000 tries. I think I watched him try 999 other things, and he finally found it. And it's great that he was a quote unquote quitter of the running, of just on his own time going down to the neighborhood pool alone, of the whatever biking. He was into biking for a while. It's great that he was a quitter with those other things. It's great that he acknowledged that this is just not the best cost-benefit ratio here for getting to my real goal, which is just generally feeling more fit, because now he's found that thing that he absolutely loves. And by the way, even me, the most anti-physically fit person, I'm actually sticking with it, seeing this trainer, because she doesn't do hard workouts. We just do basically core work so that I can have better posture. I'm just messing around on a mat the whole time. I'm just doing planks. I flail my feet around sometimes. Sometimes I'll hold one foot up and I'll have a dumbbell in my hand and that's it. And I'm like, you know what? I can do that. Actually, that's fine. None of this burpees, running, none of that. We're just getting my core stronger so that I can have better posture. And the fact that there's that secondary goal, it's about posture, not just about working out. I found it too. Also took me 999 tries. So next time you are thinking of abandoning something you started, you thought being a knitter was going to be your whole personality. and you got all the knitting stuff, you got all the yarn, you followed all the knitting influencers, you got on Knit Talk, and you're just like, I don't think I want to knit anymore. I think the litmus test for figuring out, are you being a quitter? Do you need to stick with this commitment? Or is it maybe good to just let this go? Is just ask, what was the goal in the first place? Was the goal to maximize the amount of time with yarn and a knitting needle in your hand? Or was the goal something else? For example, in that case, you might say, well, my goal was I wanted to create some kind of physical craft that I could share with people that I love. I love the idea of knitting a cap and putting it in the mail to my little niece or nephew or something. So in that case, you can say, okay, maybe knitting is not for you, but now that you know the real goal, you can find something else that fulfills that need. And in that case, you're not being a quitter. You're being smart. You're finding something that has a better cost-benefit ratio that gets you to that goal. And in conclusion, we've talked a lot of angles here, but I just want to sum it up by saying I hate Matt Rife. I hate him so much. I just want to leave you with that. He's like, dude, you're not funny. You have to have actually said, okay, you know what? I'm done. Cut me off. Cut my mic, Katlyn. I'm done. Patreon.com/thisisjen is where you get all sorts of great content. And unfortunately, for better or worse, I will be back with you next week here on the Jen Fulwiler Show.